We are going to start introducing the topic for today. So we are talking about why dating for marriage matters, the biology, the energy, and how intentional love is very important nowadays. And today what we're going to do is talk about these topics, bring some practical exercises where you can join. We will do visualizations, a little bit of somatic experiencing and healing, and then we will open the mic if you have some questions, if you want to participate, to add something so that we can all feel the energy and enrich from it. So, yeah, the topic for today is really deep. It's not a hot take video, it is a foundational conversation for today. So, here we will see very clearly the basics of dating for marriage, but mainly why it matters first. And tomorrow we will continue with the topic and doing more exercises at 2 p.m. EST. Okay, so it will be 1 hour later than today. And these lives will be posted in YouTube for a while, for just 1 week, and then we will remove it. So it will be just mainly the first 10-15 minutes will be appearing, but not everything. During this workshop, you can use the chat. You can comment with other ladies. You can start asking your questions as they appear, because then later I will go back reading and solving the questions. So you don't need to write it down in a paper. You can just directly go to the chat and I will be checking it afterwards. So if you want to say hello, you can share anything with any other ladies or just comment or give some questions. If there are questions, I would advise that you write some few capitals letters first, so that when we are going through afterwards, I can see that this was a question and not just regular saying hello. So, right after that, we will start directly with this dating for marriage topic, why it matters, why these traditional values for modern women, for high achieving women in modern times, are so important. Why we lost it? So somehow we lost it. We were in the middle of some big brainwashing with movies, with soap operas telling us to do casual dating and forget about the traditional values that our mothers and grandmothers were learning by example from seeing around them. So we are going to go a bit deeper and try to heal this wound that most of us have because of this media, this TV, everything we watched when we were growing up, thinking this is love. So why casual culture harms women, and why high achieving women need safety more than chemistry, actually. Today, we will weave it all together and connect everything together through my own story a little bit, through my own experience. And, because I didn't really arrive to these conclusions from theory alone, obviously. So if you are here, you probably guessed that there is a story behind me, why today I am doing this dating for marriage coaching, life coaching in general, and in particular focusing on high achieving women and women who at some point of their lives, they had some kind of being too masculine wound, like it was my case in the past. So I arrived here through experience, through pain, healing, and embodiment, through it all. Years ago, around 8-9 years, I was, already a very driven woman, creative, intelligent, multi-passionate, like most of the women who are here in this channel. And yeah, what I often call high achieving women, like a woman who wants to do it all and really has this drive to achieve so many things. Usually this type of women has a big purpose in life. So they have some inner drive. Sometimes they may know what it is, sometimes not, but they know they are called for something bigger and they really want to do it. They really want to achieve it. Usually they cannot stay so quiet in the same job. They need to be moving around and experiencing, or if they stay in the same job, they need to have some very intense hobby, very intense activities that they like to do and they like to develop. Or they put a lot of effort sometimes in the raising their children. They are super putting all their energy, really doing homeschooling. So these are type of women who really most of the times do everything to the maximum. Whatever it is, doesn't have to be business or job, can be raising the family, the children, like could be focusing on helping their mothers or grandmothers when they are old. But they really put all their energy, they really like to focus on healing others, on helping others, and they have a really big purpose. So in my case, some years ago, like already 8, 9 years ago, I was in a relationship where I didn't feel safe. Back then, I was completely not applying yet dating for marriage principles, principles of dating for marriage in a traditional way. I didn't even know that men could be, providers fully. I didn't even know that even though I was somehow seeing it around me, but it didn't occur to me in a way. And I ended up in a relationship of 5 years where I was providing, I was taking care of the kids from this man, the weekends they were there. I was really overgiving, overproducing, and really being sometimes even the main provider. And this was draining me completely. Like it was a relationship where I didn't feel safe, not emotionally, not energetically, not even structurally. There was love, of course, but I met this person through this regular dating that we see in the movies that is focused on chemistry, on one day meeting this person and having these butterflies, which we know nowadays that these butterflies are really not a good sign. Usually they are showing that there is some kind of unhealed trauma that this person is triggering in us. So nowadays, I know I did the training, I was really applying the methods, but 9 years ago, I really got myself stuck in this relationship. And this relationship, it was not just not safe. I was not being provided, of course, but also it ended up in a kind of prosecution way. He ended up stalking me when I already was over him. I almost had to sue him. I was lucky that I did not have to because it is really a process. So it ended up in a very abusive way, in a way that he was also controlling during most part of the relationship. So this had to end, and I managed to do it. And since then, I started this process of healing the relational patterns that I had inside of me, healing my wounds, and really starting to realize that balance between masculine and feminine energy are really, really important. So in my case, I started realizing this because I was meditating. I'm a Buddhist, so I started meditating so deeply that I started being aware from the inside of these differences of what masculine, feminine are, how we have both energies. And I realized how I had my masculine very, very high, extremely high, and my feminine was very silent, very quiet. And it was really not flourishing. And through there, then I started reading the Queen's Code. I started reading about psychology, about energies, like very deep level of embodiment. And then I started healing. And this was really helping me. And also at that time, when I was in this very abusive relationship, my nervous system also needed stability so badly that my solution, was what I did. I told you already, leave that relationship. And at that time, I was an entrepreneur for 2 years. But after this very hard relationship, I needed to return to an office job because I really needed to heal my nervous system so bad that I needed some safety, even if it was from a job. And it was not because I lacked the ambition on my project back then, but because my body needed grounding and predictability. And through this need to heal my nervous system, I also discovered the teachings of Peter Levine. Peter Levine. This man was really checking how animals behave and checking that we store trauma like animals in our body. But animals have it somehow easier. They did not lose their natural ways. So in the moment when they are experiencing a traumatic event, they can immediately react and feel it in their bodies. But humans are generally, we are somehow like repressing it, so we don't express it in the moment, and that's why we store trauma, and this is not helping us, release it. And through Peter Levine, I learned how to regulate my nervous system so that also this trauma that I had stored was slowly and slowly getting out and being completely regulated and being completely in a more safe way to myself, where my trauma was not hurting me again and again, relationship after relationship. So this man, I really recommend that you read some of his books because it really helps understanding how this works. But don't worry if you are not the reader type, because we will also, directly at the end of the lesson, we will do some exercises based on his work. So we will do some kind of somatic regulation, very short one for today, because we don't have like 2-3 hours to do a full process for that. But we will really show a little bit of how it works so you can start experiencing it and benefiting from it. So I was saying that at that time, my body needed this grounding and this predictability, right? That in this case, I got from healing using some techniques from this author. And also, it was helping me to get, a regular office job where I could be more grounded. And, this is something that we don't talk about enough in personal development sometimes, that women don't quit dreams because they are weak. They quit dreams sometimes because they lack the relational safety. And if I go fast forward to today, like most of you already know here, that I am married to a provider man, a man who offers structure, emotional presence, and economic stability. And now we know, and now I know particularly how important this is. And now I can build, I can create, I can take risk, even economically if I wish for, because I know he's taking care financially. And I can work from purpose, not from fear. And this does not only apply for women who are entrepreneurs. This applies also for all kinds of women who just want and have some purpose and they really want to focus on it. They don't want to be struggling and hustling all day, This is also some really good tool that nature has for us, that we allow ourselves to be feminine, to be women, and to receive. Let it be from our brothers, from our fathers, or from our husbands. So this is a very good tool that when we are more in balance with our masculine and feminine energies really appear. And you really start seeing how money comes to you, how all good things come to you in a way because you are allowing them to come. Sometimes we are so blocked that really things want to come to us, but we don't allow it energetically. And this is why nowadays I am so unapologetic about teaching dating for marriage. Provision, safety, shared goals, not because women are incapable, not at all. We can do it all. We show it to the world, and today we have the best tools to do it. But because women flourish when they are supported. So now we're going to talk, after this little introduction, about the hidden cost of this modern dating culture. So it is something really deeply important to me because of my story, because I was struggling for 10 years because of not knowing this basic knowledge. And that's why nowadays I help other women who are already aware about this, but want to deepen a bit more. They know about this. They know that the ways of this dating that we see in the movies, they know that this is not correct, but they need some more support on how to embody it because they are already most of the times aware, okay, they need some little help here and there to know some methods, but they really want to embody it so that when they go to their dates, they really can embody these women who is really giving these energies of, I'm just here for marriage. So don't even talk to me about going to bed. Don't even talk to me about anything very fast because I am here for long-term commitment. Marriage, long-term commitment, and those are my boundaries. So in this case, what we teach here is mainly how to embody these women that is like our identity shift, because it's a woman that we want to embody, a woman that goes to these states and really can bring this need from men to provide for her, to take care of her, and to really be as feminine, as open, without losing their purpose or their high achieving nature. Who said you cannot have it all? You have to have one or the other. Not at all. On the contrary, this support from the man that is standing next to you will help you achieve even more if he is the right one, if he is a man ready to provide for a high achieving woman. And yes, these men exist. I know they are probably not the first option that appears, but the more we embody this energy, the more they are there for us. I can tell you that. So, coming back to the culture part, so that we understand a little bit of why we were struggling in the past, if it happened to you, like to me, for some years of your life, because for me it happened. Maybe you were lucky and your mother was teaching you, that these things in the movies are not correct. But for me, didn't know, I was not taught. So I had to learn. So I hope you didn't have to learn the wrong way and you learn it immediately. But I know most of us really had to learn it. So we live in a culture that constantly tells women that casual sex, situationships, and emotional detachment, are empowering. Tell me if this is not the message that we receive. I don't even know nowadays, but because I don't watch any soap operas, movies, really barely. If there is some kind of these patterns, I will not even watch. I barely watch anything. So tell me if you are probably watching nowadays this, you know even more. Because I know from the 90s, the early 2000s, even 2010s, yes, I know this was still the vibe, but I think it got even stronger. Like there is some of these soap operas like Sex Education and so on, who are showing this all liberal, all open relationships, this kind of thing, which, okay, it is an option for some people, but now we know, and we are here, the women who know how this is not empowering, how this is actually not a choice, it's more of a brainwashing that they did to us. And it hurts to say because we live in this moral relativism where we think, okay, if it works for you, then it's good. But for me, it's different. No, it is not. Things are how they are. And this moral relativism is taking us nowhere. Of course, there is some gray areas in some things, but we know biologically and energetically what is good for humans and what is not. So really, you will never hear me saying, okay, maybe it's good for you. Okay, maybe if in real life, if I want to avoid some situations like someone beat me, okay. But other than that, this is not empowering. This is not really a choice. We were really brainwashed for that. And this doesn't come from judgment because I was also there, you know? And that is fine, that it is neutral, that it's just a preference. I don't feel like it was for me. I feel like I was really brainwashed to believe that. So, yeah, from the beginning, just because something is normalized does not mean it is healthy. So, this would be like the main point of this part of the workshop. And just because something is common does not mean it is good, biologically, energetically, or morally. So I don't speak about dating and relationships from judgment. I speak from truth, from responsibility, and long term consequences. And this is what we will see here today, especially for women who want marriage, family, and a meaningful legacy. In marriage, there are many projects. Projects are very important because I also help women when they are already in a relationship, in commitment. And really, one of the most important things is to have projects together. Sometimes, if you want, could be family. Sometimes could be some legacy. Sometimes could be some business together. There are many ways, or some spiritual belief, like religion. There are many ways where you can do projects together that are meaningful. So it's not just one way, the family. Okay, this is a very important way where we can get a lot of meaning. But maybe we are over the family, we already have our kids, and we're just looking for a husband where, we want to build something with them, maybe some volunteering activity, some passion for sports. So just having projects together, this is also very important. So coming back to what biology actually says about sex, bonding, and commitment, so we can get very deep in why we are doing this dating for marriage. Because one of the first things you need to do to embody is to understand. So if you don't understand why this is important and you are just focusing on, okay, I want a provider man because it looks cool, it looks nice, all these women are so elegant. Okay, this is one reason. But if we don't know why it is important for women, for human beings, for our families, then we are less likely to embody it. But when we really feel it, we know the theory, we can apply it practically, and we can show like that, like this embodied woman already. So coming back to these theories, because I want it to be like really deep in your brain, ingrained, like really written there, like so that you don't forget. And when a man can also ask you when you are already, dating for a long time, that you can really explain really properly. So humans are not designed for casual intimacy without consequences. From a biological perspective, sexual intimacy activates powerful neurochemical processes, especially oxytocin, dopamine, and vasopressin, which are all of them responsible for bonding, attachment, trust, and emotional imprinting. So, oxytocin particularly is not neutral. It is not just pleasure. It is a bonding hormone. So we think sometimes this is only about pleasure and it doesn't matter. It does matter because it is a bonding hormone that evolved to create pair bonds, cooperation, and stability for offspring. So the research shows that romantic bonding and long-term attachment are deeply rooted in our neurobiology. These mechanisms evolved to support the family structures and shared responsibilities. It's very logical, right? If you look many, many years ago, it really makes sense. And this is not ideology, it is science. So when intimacy happens repeatedly without commitment, these bonding systems become confused and fragmented, especially in women because our nervous systems are more relationally oriented. We are the social ones. We are focused on communities. We build communities to get this support so our offsprings are succeeding and are making it in this wild world. So if you think about it, compared how it was when we were living in nature, it doesn't make sense, because of the hormones that are activated. And studies consistently are showing that sexual restraint and intentional partner selection correlate with higher relationship satisfaction. Exactly. Waiting shows that is much more likely to succeed, when we really wait, when we really build the connection first. So, stability and marital happiness later in life are more likely to happen when we do this bonding, this intentional partner selection first. So, you see, the long term success of a relationship is deeply measured by this. So, no, biologically speaking, casual sex is not just a lifestyle choice, like we were saying. It has measurable emotional, psychological, and relational cost. So, why do we say that this "it's fine if you want it" narrative is misleading? Because for me, it really is. We can discuss this later, but for me, it really is. And one of the biggest lies of modern culture is moral relativism, like we were talking about, this philosophical current that appeared in this last century. The idea that something is good simply because someone says it is. Well, if it feels right for you, then it's right. No, like that's just your truth. Who am I to judge? Well, it's true, like we should not judge, but it is okay for us to say what we experience that is good, what our experience is. We can really say it. We don't need to go around judging, but we can really say what studies, what science, and what biology says. And truth does not change based on opinion. This is how it is. So, from a consciousness perspective, this moral relativism calibrates very low energetically. It dissolves responsibility, destroys trust, and erodes family structures. And we can see the results everywhere: unstable relationships, chronic dissatisfaction, emotional numbness, fatherless homes, women who feel disconnected from themselves, like they are completely losing it. They feel completely disconnected because they go around sleeping here and there. And this really affects. So, what can we say about this current culture of situationships, which I'm sure most of us have suffered? I know I did in the past, before knowing all of this and calibrating and energetically being there. I really suffer from these situationships or casual intimacy. We know that these thrive on very low calibration mindset because it removes completely the accountability. And I personally do not subscribe to that worldview, like I was saying, and I would not recommend to you. Not because of fear, not because of repression, like some people think, but because I value truth, structure, and long term well being over the short term gratification that we look for sometimes. And a big one of the biggest ones here, is how women are the guardians of life, of energy, and legacy. Women are not the same as men biologically or energetically. When a woman bonds sexually, her body releases these hormones that reduce critical assessment of the partner. So it's not just like we were saying before, that then they make you bond, immediately. It's also that they reduce completely our critical abilities. And this is very important thing to consider. This is not a flaw. It is really a protective mechanism designed to support pregnancy, bonding, and child rearing together. So nature assumes that intimacy may lead to life. That means the woman is biologically encouraged to attach, to stay, to protect the bond. This is how it is, and these hormones are really making us not able to judge, to really judge our partner. So when we go immediately into intimacy, we risk falling in love to someone who is really not meeting any of our requirements, any of the things that we wish for the father of our children, but just because of protection, how naturally it was in the past. So please take this into account always, to not jump into intimacy immediately, because it can have really fatal consequences. It can cause women to remain emotionally tied to men who are not aligned with their values, their future family vision, or their life purpose even. So yes, women are really guardians of DNA, lineage, and legacy. So being selective is your duty. It's not control, it is wisdom, and it is actually our duty. Yeah, we are responsible for many things. This is one of them. So, what is my personal experience about it? Because, like I'm telling you, I'm not here to judge because I was the first one to suffer from this myself. So, I want to be really honest with you. I was never extremely promiscuous. That's true. But I did have periods where I slept with men I had no intention of building a life with, especially after this long abusive relationship that I was telling about, when I was really disconnected from my center. And somehow I needed this fake freedom feeling. And that's what I knew from the movies, from this fake empowering. So I went on and I did that, and I really regret that. Not because of shame, not because of what they would say, otherwise I would not be saying that out loud, but because I felt the energetic and emotional cost afterwards. Yeah, exactly. It is very strong. There is confusion. There is attachment without alignment. There is this subtle loss of self respect, even. So I don't know if you experience that, but it really feels bad. It feels really wrong, you know? I think unless you are a woman completely on your extreme masculine side, it's very difficult to enjoy. And at that time, I was very high on my masculine energy and still I could not enjoy. So you can imagine, you know, how really this is affecting. And sometimes we don't even realize. Luckily, I was very conscious to at some point realize this makes no sense. So that experience really taught me something crucial. My body, my heart, and my future deserve coherence. And that is one of the reasons why I do dating coaching today. Exactly. So, if marriage and family are your goals, this is the foundation. This is something you need to somehow memorize, really. So, you need to have it very clear. You know, clear non negotiables, delayed intimacy until alignment is clear, values before chemistry, emotional safety before physical closeness. So when a woman is clear, calm, and self respecting, men feel it immediately. The ones who are not aligned will remove themselves. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to convince them, not at all. Clarity and your own clarity, that's the filtering. And once you are trained how to do this, how to embody this, you will know immediately. You will immediately have this feeling in your heart like, this is not right. You know, and later I can give some examples of my dating times when I was really immediately knowing this is not right. And I was immediately saying, okay, thank you, bye. You know, this is not for me. So later we can see more examples. So, yeah, casual dating culture, we saw already that it tells women to disconnect from consequences. Dating from marriage, on the contrary, asks women to rise into responsibility, discernment, and, of course, dignity. So one path leads to fragmentation. The other builds families, stability, and legacy. So choose very consciously, I would recommend. Choose wisely. And choose especially in alignment with who you want to become. So, who you want to become. If you want to become the mother of a big family, for example, how would you choose? Would you choose from complete lack of consciousness just because of some chemistry, just because of looks? Or would you choose because this person is together in the same values, in alignment with your values and with who you are and with who you want to become? Do they have the same projects? Do they have the same intentions for the future? That's what we need to look for. And you know, and the children and future you are shaping will tell you immediately. You know, these children that you see in the future when you're looking for a family project, or this future that you envision if you're looking for other kinds of projects, this is what you are shaping in the end. Both of it. Then your projects or your offspring, everything will depend on it. Because marrying is the most important business of our lives, you know. It's from where we start building something together with someone. And it really matters. It's really not something to do in a fast decision way. So, what are the solutions that I bring so that we can heal from this? It's basically what I did, what I learned, what I applied. Really, I cannot tell you more. My solution is what I was really applying. I would not say anything that I did not try before. For me, one of the biggest one is healing, being in the body, embodying the queen, embodying the dream woman who they want to marry. This is the basic one. So here we're going to introduce a little bit about body awareness with some exercises. Okay, so one practice that we can do so that we can be more on our bodies, we can feel more our emotions, we can be more aware of what we are feeling. It's a very, very simple practice. This one, if you want to take note, is a very good one. Is once a day to begin with, just once a day is enough. Set an alarm on your phone, and when it rings, you ask yourself, how do I feel in my body right now? So say it again. How do I feel in my body right now when you see this alarm? And it is not what you think, not what you should feel. Just tight, open, heavy, calm, anxious, warm, anything that you feel in your body. And this is building body literacy. Sometimes we just close our eyes and we cannot really feel anything. Doesn't matter. Then you can write it down. Or you can write a voice note and just talk about it, talk about things that you feel, even if they are just, my heartbeat is a bit faster. This will take you to some kind of word that will define how you feel. And this is very important that you can do it when you are dating and when you are married also. Because men need in us this openness to how we feel. They need us to express how we are feeling. This brings them in their bodies because for them it's even more difficult. And if we are the example and we are in our bodies and we can manage to know what we are feeling at a specific moment, this will help them tremendously. So this is one of the best advices for dating and for marriage also. We can apply it for both. And this would be building this body literacy. So something that many high achieving women never learn actually, like it's very hard for us to learn this, especially because we are very much in our heads. We are achieving, we are sometimes too much goal oriented for being women. And it makes it difficult for us to be in our bodies. So yeah, how you show up energetically, this matters to men. And men don't respond to words first. Some of you know already that I'm a linguist, that I studied linguistics in university. So yeah, words matter, and neurolinguistics programming is something that matters a lot. Yes, but men don't respond first to words. They respond to nervous system cues. So how this queen energy, that I like to call it, feels. It feels calm, self-contained, receptive, unhurried, like, and then if it is feeling like that, it's repelling desperation energies, So this calm, self-contained, receptive, unhurried, this is really repelling any desperation, and this is wonderful. This is putting you in this queen energy. So yes, in this case, relaxation is very attractive for especially these men who are in their masculine, these men who are providers. This relaxation from you is really giving them the best queen and future wife vibes. And this is super important. This will show immediately when you are on a date. Also, another thing that we will go a bit more deeper tomorrow in the next workshop, in the next day of the workshop, and we will go a bit deeper in our 3-month program, but we will already introduce it a little bit. So what you say? Yeah, linguistic calibration. This is something that really touches me because of my training in linguistics and this neuro-linguistics programming. So it is really touching me and it's really something that works wonders. It really became crucial for me because language is not neutral. And that's why I had like a first 10, 15 minutes introduction on the topic, on how, from the language perspective, from the theory, how everything works, because we need to be able to express it also with words. It's not just that we embody it energetically, this is the main thing, true, but we also need to be able to talk about it. Language is not neutral. Language programs identity. So the moment when you know how to express it, like I just did, then you will already embody it more in your brain. It will program your identity, and then you will directly apply the steps forwards. So yeah, we would say, for example, in this case with language, some things that queens, these queens energy women don't do. For example, they don't over-explain. So probably we all had in our dating experience these men who are looking for explanations all the time, or we both did something wrong and they are asking for explanations from you and over blaming you. And then you realize, okay, they want me to over explain. And the best thing you can do is just don't do it, Just try to figure it out in some other way if it's already a person you've been dating for a long time. And if not, then maybe you can remove it from your rotation, Maybe it's not worth it. Another thing is don't justify your standards. So if you have these standards very clear, you really don't have the need to justify them. But you need to be able to talk about them if the topics arise, Yeah, I'm into marriage. If the man is right, he will say, good, I can show you, like screenshots from me or from other friends who they really dare to say, what are you looking for example, a dating app, marriage. And the man said, good, and they went on to have a date. Men are not scared of you saying you want to marry. Because the men who are really ready to marry, on the contrary, they will say, oh, good, yeah, this is what I want. Someone who is very clear. So yes, don't justify standards, but be ready to talk about them if necessary. And big one is don't negotiate your values. For example, you could say your values like this: I date intentionally. I value commitment. I am building a meaningful life. These sentences filter men automatically. So the one who needs to stay will stay, and the one who needs to leave will leave automatically. So, yes, I will talk about now your unique authority. Yes, this is super important. I want to name this not only as a dating coach, but also, why this building your authority of yourself matters so much, It matters not only for dating coaching, it matters for everything, really, for everything in your life. You need to build your authority. You need to write down, if you can once a week at least, what you are good of, what you're good at, what you achieved in your life. Like what did you overcome? What did you study? Did you work since you were very young? Like what are these things that make you superhero? So at least once a week, take the time to write down all these things to build your inner authority. If you are dating or not, because you really need to know your value. In my case, sometimes what I do, I was writing down that I studied in university linguistics. I know neurolinguistics programming, I was also working in the performing arts and I was doing this embodiment training. And this was helping me before going on a date to realize, okay, I know a lot about this topic. I'm very regulated and I can do it, you know. And right now, this authority is also helping me, this authority that I was building through the years. So if you are, like if you are a leader in your team at work or if you are building a business, I would say also do this. Even if you are dating or not right now, just try and do it, because this building authority helps with everything. In my case, as a dating coach, these trainings, especially this performing arts background that I have, like I'm a ballerina, I was also doing theater and even a movie sometimes. So this performing arts experience was bringing me this embodiment training, because I'm sure if you don't know nothing about performing arts, you can immediately tell when an actor or actress is being fake or when they are really embodying the character. So this is something very valuable. Many techniques that I learned in performing arts that will help you really embody the woman you want to become. So if you want to become this woman that is in her queen energy, that has it very clear that she's dating for marriage, these trainings will help you a lot. And this helps me, this training that I have helps me see when a woman is acting feminine or when she is being feminine or when she is embodied, or she's just pretending. So we can see this in posture, in the breath, in the eye contact, the timing, the tone. Because of this training, I can see it very easily and I can help women who are in the process. I can help them go forward and really embody it and not just pretend it. In the beginning, it's normal that we are like pretending a little bit Or we feel, for example, many women are changing the way that they dress, for example, because they were dressing very masculine. I have a friend who is an engineer who is just starting in this dating for marriage process, and she's really dressing like that. And she tells me, Angela, in the beginning, I know I will need to pretend a little bit. I know I will not feel very comfortable, but with time, because she's really embodying it and not just pretending, she will feel comfortable. She will be able to feel better in a dress, in a more feminine kind of way, because the man on her love list really wants a woman who is really dressing a bit more feminine. So this is something we need to embody. And in her case, she's on the process, but she will eventually make it because she's focusing on embodying, not just pretending, not just wearing something that is not matching her, but really being that woman. So yes, I work directly with the body. And also because of this linguistics training I was telling you about, I reprogram identity too. Because of this neurolinguistics programming, I anchor it neurologically, so that we have it really in the deep of our minds, in the deep of our subconscious. And this is why my work creates this lasting change and not performance. Now we will do some somatic and neurolinguistics programming practice. I think the last exercise we had for today, we need to do it tomorrow, but it's okay. At least we can do this one. And the last one tomorrow will be amazing. You will love it. We will play some music and visualize, and it will be super joyful. But today we start with this somatic and linguistics practice. So let's anchor this. Sit back, feet on the ground, slow breath. Close your eyes if you can. I'll give you a minute. Focus on your breathing first. Relax your mouth, relax your chest, your body. Give it a little movement if you need. And now ask yourself, how does the woman who is chosen, protected, and provided for inhabit her body? Keep breathing, and you can adjust your posture if you like, because we are trying to embody this woman now. You can soften the jaw, slow the exhale, and now imagine being courted seriously, being respected, being safe. And now anchor it physically. You can touch your belly, you can touch your heart, and anchor this feeling. Just feel the emotion very strong. If it's difficult for you to feel courted, to feel respected, just try to remember a moment where you felt really embodied, really happy, like everything was okay, and just maximize this feeling. This is how being courted and being respected will feel. Just anchor it in your heart, in your belly, where you feel better, or both. Keep breathing, just focus on your breath. And now every time you are gonna go to a date, just know that when you touch your heart or your belly, when you anchor this feeling, you will be in this dream woman, queen energy. And you will go ready to this date. Now, slowly, with this knowledge, this wisdom that we just received, because we were gifting ourselves with it, we slowly open our eyes. We observe any differences in our body, on the feelings. Do I feel numb in some area of my body? Do I feel more relaxed? Do I feel more active? I don't know about you, but I was just guiding the visualization, the somatic experience, a practice. And for me, immediately I feel more in this dating, super feminine, super receiving way. So this is how identity is built, not just mentally or with linguistics, but somatically too. So now we know that tomorrow we will continue because we don't have more time for today. But tomorrow we have another practice that will combine this somatic with neurolinguistics programming, with visualizations, so that we use this Joe Dispenza style of embodying the emotion that we want to feel when we achieve our goal. So this is the power of the practice we will do tomorrow, apart from some initial theory. I'm sorry if this is more boring for you, but we will have some theory and some practice because we need to integrate them all. This is how it is. And before that, I want to tell you about my 3 month membership where we do this work deeply. Weekly, we join into a live group session and we give personal feedback. We do this calibration, this regulation, these somatics for the nervous system, this healing from your body. We do this dating calibration, this embodying of the queen energy, dream woman energy, and this feminine embodiment that most of us still we need to heal a little bit. Even some days we feel okay, I'm really on my masculine bond. I cannot go on a date like this. I need to cancel. Let me know if this happened to you, that you were really canceling sometimes because you felt extremely alert, like extremely on your nervous system completely dysregulated, and you were self sabotaging you. Because I was there. I was self sabotaging my dating life, I can tell you. All because I did not take the time to regulate, to embody, and to apply this sacred knowledge that we have nowadays. And in this program, is where women become, in 3 months, future wives. They avoid situationships. They avoid this self sabotage that we all have suffered. Oh, how many dates I really canceled? Many. And we become these future wives, not placeholders, not simple girlfriends. No. We look for commitment and marriage and we get ready for it. And we really embody it. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST, we go live again. Okay, if you have questions about this 3 month membership, we will solve them there more. Okay, today is more of a more theory, more hands-on work. Tomorrow we have theory, we have practice. It's a bit shorter, and then we solve some questions about this 3 month program. So tomorrow we talk about how men decide who to marry and what makes a woman unforgettable. So keep it up for tomorrow. And now let's do some Q&A. I will check if there are some questions in the chat. If not, we will slowly close it. And just remember, before we go with the questions, that this work is not about chasing love. It is about becoming the woman love chooses. So let's go to the questions. Let me see if we have something in the chat. Or Satu Vic, do you want to join for some questions? If you want to make some questions, but you don't want me to show your face or your voice, we can do it here and then I can cut you later when I post it in YouTube. So if that's an issue, then we can do anyways. I can unmute you just in case. Okay, so if you want to add something also about your general experience, it's super okay. I will listen to you
Hi,
here.
Angela. Vicky, I don't have a question specifically, but just wanted to say I really relate to what you said, and I'm what we are told that, especially what you said that we're told something is normal, and that this is the normal way to date, and I definitely have found in the past that it was like this is that what's expected, and that almost like I didn't even have a say. This is just what you're supposed to do. You start seeing someone, you're supposed to sleep with them, and so on. So I'm just looking forward to hearing more from you on that tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic, for sharing. I feel you. I was really there. It felt in the beginning when I was aware of this so frustrating because I kept finding men who were just looking for this exactly what you said, this okay, meet, sleep, intimacy. Like it was the norm. And it took me a lot of time of embodying to really just go on dates or just go even on calls with men who were really not at all into that. So it is possible to avoid these men. From time to time, one or two jump in if you are really very open in your spectrum, of men or your eligibility. If you are not very like specific, but as soon as you embody it and you show it also, because you embody it, there is a process of embodying friends inside and then how you present it outside. And then once you master those, really they almost disappear. This is true. So thank you, Vic. I feel you completely. It's very frustrating. Okay, Satu, I think you have your hand on.
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi.
I know you said you would talk about the program tomorrow, but I would like to sign up today. Can you tell me how to do that? And
Yes, for sure. Let me see. Confirm to me that you see the chat.
yes, I see the
And
chat.
I will send it to you just now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. It is in Thinkific. Do you know this?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Then if you have your account, it will be super easy.
Okay.
I just sent you the link and then you can just sign up. And it is it's based in live. So we do everything live and then we keep the recordings. And then you can watch the recordings anytime. Everything is just there. And we do not just group sessions, but also you have included some private sessions. So this is the bomb about the program. This is what makes it super special that not just the group calibration is super important in these 3 months, but also the fact that you have in these 3 months, six, if I don't remember correctly, is six private sessions of coaching. So we can focus more on what is your bigger difficulty, for example. Let me just copy it. Yeah, it is called Embodying the Dream Girl, Attracting Commitment Naturally. Okay. And this will start, the next group will start in February. So from February, we are already ready. But don't worry, because until February, you can already have your first session if you like, the private one. And also, we will have by the end of January another live workshop like this. So you can already start working today with something. Let me send it in the chat. Yeah. Okay, should be appearing soon. Let me know. Yes, very good. Thank you, Satu. So, ladies, that's all for today. If you don't have any more questions, we will upload this on YouTube, but just for a limited time. So, if you want to continue after 1 week having it, I will do also some little access to it, like in the membership, in the 3-month membership, it will be for sure. But also, I will do like a little course for those who don't have the time to join the membership, but want to keep this recording and want to keep these little practices that we are doing today and tomorrow. So thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate having you here. And I hope I see you tomorrow. Remember, it's 1 hour later at 2 p.m. East, EST. So see you tomorrow and sending you a big hug. And bye. Enjoy the day.